Welcome to SUFO Vancouver.
Welcome to the 5th episode. We have brought the expert back again. This is Aman Pal. Aman Pal is a good friend of mine. We have worked in the past together in a startup. And today's topic is why startup fails. And this is coming from the authority. We have actually tried to get one startup from the ground up, and there's no perfect way to say what the result is, because we're still excited about it. We're still planning things to build on top of it. But for now, you can call that project as a failure. I don't know how Aman feels about it. Probably has heartburn, but I'll take that as a failure.
Badge of honor.
So let me explain what BeesHive is. Remember pandemic? That's when everybody got too much time in their hand and started to think about ways we can make things better in lives. That's what we did. I actually contacted Aman Pal to build a app, a multi-vendor shopping e-commerce app, and then we kind of from there started talking about bigger ideas, and we decided to build a super app for North America. That's what BeesHive is. What is super app? It basically has all the mini apps that allows you to do everything that you need in your daily lives. For example, book a car, order food online, get some groceries delivered to you, hire some contractors for your house use. So it was a very ambitious project, but we thought we had the capacity and time and resources to do it. And we went at it. We developed lots of stuff, but most of them were not finished to a degree that we could take it to the market, or perhaps our go-to-market strategy was not fully thought through. At the end, we decided not to go to the market at the moment for various different reasons. The changes in market conditions, the availability of funding, and all that stuff. So we are going to talk about BeesHive mostly, but this is applicable, and we're kind of keeping it in mind that this is going to be applicable to any other type of startup as well. And Aman is currently working at Spark. Spark is a new startup. He is currently working as CTO, and they are raising tons of money right now, and things are going ahead in a really positive direction. So there's that perspective too. So he'll be able to talk about the contrast between what went in the previous startup BeesHive and then the current one. So here's the deal we're doing today. So I have written down 10 different reasons why a startup fails, with lots of references from BeesHive, and I've asked Aman to do the same. And number one is what he thinks, or I think in my list, is the most important cause a startup fail. And we have not shared this data with each other. So I have no idea what's on his list, and he has no idea what's on my list. We'll go through our list one at a time. I'll let him go first, and then he explains his number one reason he thinks startup fail, including BeesHive. And then I'll take my turn. If he and I have the same ideas, then I'll move on to my number two. That's the plan. So Aman, do you have anything to add before we get started on this fun adventure?
No, nothing. No, it's fine. In terms of BeesHive, to me, BeesHive was one of my still one of my dream projects I want to do. Since my first startup, I started Stickler. So I've been following this trend of this thing like super app. Even Elon Musk is very ambitious about building his super app, right?
Yes.
So it is an ambitious project, and whoever builds a super app, it's gonna stay there, right? The business itself, it's has the legs, and it can thrive, but it's very difficult to build.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go through our list then. You go first. What's your number one reason do you think startup fails?
Startup fails because there is no market for that product or service or the solution which you're building, and you feel that it is required or the product or solution which you are working on, but nobody needs it, right?
Mhm.
So if no one needs it, then no one is going to pay for it. And if no one is going to pay for it, then it will be very difficult for you to, the fundamental of business, right? So if no one needs that particular product or service, then what is the point of doing that? And that's lead to failure of startups.
Exactly. It's very obvious, but I know the reason a lot of startup founders do that is because they think their lived experience is what everybody else's lived experience is, and the things that
Yeah.
are bothering them, the problem that are bothering them, thinks they are a very popular problem. Most time it's not.
Yeah.
And that's the reason. And then you think that everybody would like it, but perhaps they are not thinking about it, or that's their problem too. Excellent.
Yeah.
So, good thing. My number one list is not same as yours.
Okay.
Number one reason startup fails is not having the subject matter expertise.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
Yes.
we all want
So that is mine on another number.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then you have to
Yeah.
skip that and then go to the next one, and you explain
Okay.
when you have your turn. You tell me that you had that on whatever number two
Okay.
or three, and then
Okay. Sure.
so on the subject matter expertise, I think it is the most keystone thing you can f up. That
Yeah.
if you don't have the subject matter expertise, you don't have a job experience in that particular market, you haven't done similar work in the previous job, then it's going to be almost impossible to execute startup correctly. It's not like a job. In the job, you can go to a new field and you can start learning on the go. But when you're starting up, you're trying to do things very fast and grow really fast, and it becomes a very, very big challenge when you don't have the industry experience.
Hmm.
But with that said, I am the type of person who likes to jump on things. I have not known everything, or I don't have the expertise, and this podcast is all about starting up and finding out, and then they kind of do lived learning experience. The whole startup is fun to founders also, because we're learning
Yeah.
new everything. If I have to do
Yeah.
a startup on things I've been working 10 years, I'll be pretty bored. That's why it's exciting for the founders also. So there's a fine balance, knowing
Yeah.
everything, and in the areas that you already worked on, and it's not exciting anymore. For me, it's all about new experience, adventures, and learning, and that's also important to me. So what do you think, on?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And but I guess I agree to disagree because a lot of startups, let's say Uber, right? That guy didn't had any experience in when you're creating an industry which didn't exist. So in that case, this doesn't fit in, right? So he didn't had any like transportation background, right? But he had the vision which he thought could be cooler, and it will be very like convenient for people, right?
Okay.
So yeah, yeah, for it fits in for such areas of industries like medical, right? If you're building a medical product, then it requires to be known of, let's say something which is involved in more core practices of knowledge, maybe let's say hardware, where hardwares are involved. So you need to be have an experience before building a mobile phone, right? And let's say if you're building a cars, so you need to, so the classic example, Apple tried to build Apple car,
Yeah.
and they dumped it after burning $10 billion, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because they didn't have the expertise, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So similarly, yeah, it depends on the industry, I guess.
Yes, yes, totally. And I think while we're talking about startup failure, I don't think you need to be scared about failure. I think that's a
Yeah, definitely embrace it. You have to
embrace.
embrace failures.
Exactly. That's what we're talking about, and we're proud about it. Okay, now
Yeah.
now let's go to number two on your list.
Okay. So number two, let me open up. Number two is run out of cash.
Okay.
Because I've seen that in my past couple of stuff. I built the product, we built the product, we launched it, it was working. We knew that it's gonna fly, but we didn't have enough juice to fly it, and then it crashed.
Mhm.
So the classic example is Genie, the previous startup which I did
Mhm.
after like few other startups, like after Omo Trip, and then Genie, I landed up on Genie. It was a like it is checking every check marks. There was a problem, and it was solving it. It was a very big problem, and it's a billion-dollar opportunity.
Mhm.
And we built the
Let me
product.
interrupt you
People were
right there.
starting it.
Can you just give a very quick idea what Genie is?
Yeah. So Genie was a zero commission ride hailing platform,
Mhm.
which I try to like build it and launch it to solve a very big problem in India. Because these ride-hailing platforms like Uber and the majority of like Ola, they have huge commissions on drivers' income, which is like 30 to 40%. And the drivers are the one who are doing all the hard work. And
Mhm.
these platforms just like snatch their hard-earned money. And
Mhm.
that's not the case. Even if they are compensated well, if the margins are higher, let's say if they are making shit ton of money, then getting 30%, they might be okay, right? As compared to US or other geography. But in India, it's a very price sensitive market.
Mhm.
The fares of the rides are not increasing, but the commissions are increasing. So it is very difficult with drivers to like run their daily life with
Right.
this such apps. So I figured out and tried to build it. We launched it and we were really doing great. We had within like 1 month 1,200 drivers onboarded, and I
Mhm.
was the only one guy
Wonderful.
doing everything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it started, and we were scaling and things because it's a little bit like operational heavy.
Mhm.
You need more people, and also in terms of tech as well, it is operational heavy. Tech
Mhm.
needs to be really well built out.
Mhm.
So then everything started crashing, and then I got into debt because I was pouring my entire whatever I had. I was like borrowing from friends, borrowing from family, using my credit cards, going maxed out, taking loans here and there, and just like make it happen. Right? I was like hoping that somehow I will be able to raise funds and it will fly, but that never happened.
Right. Okay. So having enough money and your go-to-market strategy kind of aligning with that strategy is very important.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, it's one thing to not have money, not having income. The other thing is to start losing on the negative side, and then
Yeah, yeah,
balance
yeah,
is quite
yeah.
challenging.
High burn. Yeah, burn.
Yeah. Okay, let me go to my next second reason.
Mhm.
The ever expanding scope of work and not fixing on one thing that we want to build.
Yeah,
Always
yeah.
chasing
Totally agree.
after tiny ideas. We just start having a meeting about building one specific product, and then we hear the news that there's a new thing happening, and everybody's running towards it. And I thought, you know what? We can also do that. All we need is one night worth of work, and then we'll get there.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then that changes the next day, and that changes, and that changes, and we start seeing challenges and implementing that, and then something else comes up. And then we're always chasing new ideas and never narrow down the scope to a point that, okay, we're going to get this done, and we're going to go to the market, get a feedback, and then change it. We're kind of changing on the go without getting market feedback. That
mm,
was the biggest, I think, blunder we did. At least we could have had some product tested in the market, and then from that feedback, we could have start building on top of it. But we couldn't get on our own way, and
yeah,
then always start chasing shiny new ideas.
yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. Totally agreed. So my one is like little bit like it's similar, but it has another thing. So the third one I'm talking about.
It's your third one. It's your turn now. Okay, on the third one. All right,
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. So it's agility with vision.
Okay. Hmm.
So you need agility. So that the classic case of these highways, we were agile, but we were agile in changing the scope of work without thinking about the vision, right?
Yes.
What is the end thing which you want to do? So that's one of the learnings which I am trying to like which I learned and I'm able to implement at Spark. So at Spark we have so many ideas. We want to do this, we want to do that, and the scope of work is like never ending. But one thing which I figured out, like what is the vision for Spark, what we want to achieve with Spark. With Spark we wanted to make sure that uh, we make dates happen. We want to make sure that people meet in person rather than getting stuck in digital world. So that is the one vision we want to make it happen, right? We want to build a platform which makes sure that you meet in person rather than getting stuck in digital world. So now whatever we build, it should be built around that vision, whether it's going to solve that for that vision or not.
Right.
If not, then we are not going to do it
Yeah,
right now.
that is a very good strategy to ground your thinking process and to line up all your ducks. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good strategy. Okay, so I think my turn, number 4.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this ahead, so I'm gonna skip it. But in here it says go-to-market strategy.
Mhm.
You talked about the runway of money and all that. So you
Mhm.
need to. Some of the apps gonna burn a lot of money. If you can't keep up with that, that's not a good market strategy, go-to-market strategy.
Yeah.
You got to figure
Okay.
out your go-to-market strategy and kind of line up the money and everything. So I'm going to skip that and go to my number 5, which is
Mhm.
team. And I think it's kind of lined up with the subject matter expertise. Also, having a right number and expertise of the team is very, very important. What we did at Beehive, you were the developer, I was everything else. And you're developing 20 hours a day, not having enough sleep, and then probably sleep deprived for entire year. And then I'm trying to talk with the businesses and telling them we're developing this, and then suddenly we're changing the scope of the work and we're developing something else. I kind of
Yeah.
ruined the market type of activities also. We didn't have enough team to, but then the idea of how much team do you need actually depends on your strategy, the growth model. You can't expect to have 10 people when you're just starting and creating your minimum viable product. You got to start
Yeah.
lean, you got to start with less money. If possible, not enough, not even spending any money at all, just spending
Yeah.
your time. That's how you
Yeah.
start. But then, if you don't have the right team, right amount of team ahead of time, as early as possible, then it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, definitely. Agreed. It's also same. Mine is like a little bit another term is wrong team.
Okay.
Like, yeah, you have the team, but you didn't have the right people at the right place.
Right.
So that which I learned while working at Spark. So when I landed Spark opportunity, I never supposed to be, or I didn't have any idea like I will land up as a like CTO or co-founder, whatever it is. I was just accidentally like landed on this opportunity. I met the founder, and he was like, "Oh, you have done like fundraising for Ginny. You have done a lot of stuff. Can you just help me with like introductions?" So I did that, and then he said, "Oh, you seems like very technical. Then can you just help me with like my product?" So they were outsourcing the product to be built to another third party company. So there was no one in the Spark side who understand that tech, right? And they were hoping that this agency will do the justice to them and they will be fair enough. And so then I started looking into the like the tech, and I got to know that they are just like duping the money, right? And then I have to like tell the guys you have to build in house, otherwise this gonna you will never be able to build a product.
Yeah.
And from the initial also the people who were hired were not the right fit for the like the jobs. So
Yeah.
people with marketing background were hired to do partnerships, right?
Right.
So this is kind of like you do have the team but not placed at the right place.
Yes. Excellent. And it's always a difficult thing to balance. You might not have the right team at the right place also, and then you got to line up the time also. You need
Yeah.
marketing people when you are developed to that level, and then start using those people. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think you're on number 4.
Yeah. So my fifth, so we have covered the fourth,
Okay.
I guess. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So my fifth is the poor marketing,
Poor
the
market.
marketing thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there is a quote like from the Gary Vee. So he
Yeah.
says like, what is the point of writing the best speeches of the humanity
Yeah.
and just giving it in a jungle?
Right. Right.
There is no human, right? And you claim that you have written the best
Yeah.
speech ever in the humanity, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you have built the best product and the service, and but you can't tell others like, hey, this is what we have built in an efficient way, then it's not gonna work.
Correct. And marketing is such a huge topic. Uh, and raising funds is another topic. We probably will talk about those later too.
Yeah.
Um, and my number six is fundraising. I
Hmm.
don't like doing fundraising. That's my job, but I don't like doing it. This is, I mean, everybody has different approach, and I think that's where we kind of fail too. We probably
Mhm.
had done fundraising a little bit earlier because we had a golden age of fundraising when we just started. You just had
Yeah, 2020. Yeah,
money around at that time,
yeah, yeah.
golden age. But then my thought process was, I think it's to be way too premature to go out and ask money for, because we had to build something to demonstrate it, and we're building it, but we're building every new thing every other week, so we never get to the point. We did some pitching here and there, but it was already too late in the market cycle, where they started doing quantitative tightening, and everybody were kind of running out of cash. Right now, the funding environment is completely different, at least in North America. I probably it's pretty good in Southeast Asia still, but in
Not good, not good. It's really hard. We know like how much nose we need to hear for getting just one check. So it's quite literally like, yeah, there was like we were in the golden age of when funding it was very easy to raise, but we missed. We were just so into like hustling and building rather than just going out and talking to the smart people, right?
yes,
But
so,
but it is what it is.
uh,
Yeah, but I guess it becomes easier when you know the fundamentals. We can have a like separate like 101 fundraising 101 session
yeah.
where we can just discuss about just purely about fundraising.
We're talking about Cargoose on this podcast a lot, and then we're kind of tracking Cargoose along the way. I'll probably give you an update on Cargoose a little bit later after we finish this session. And there's also, I think, my personal goal strategy. Everybody has a different way of doing things. My personal goal is I'm gonna treat my investors' money like my own money, and I'm not gonna go for it unless there's a really good reason that we need that money at this moment in time. If I can't justify that to myself, I'm trying to build my MVP, and I'm trying to test the ideas. At this time, I don't want anybody's liability sitting in my hand, risking spending it on things that probably we don't need at this time. So in that way, I have a very different way of doing things, but that's probably not the best way to go about. And then doing
Mhm.
everything all at once is probably the best idea. Doing fundraising as well as developing together, hand in hand,
Yeah, yeah.
and talking to people. I think that's where I kind of miss this opportunity of talking to people. Investors are really sophisticated. They have lots of ideas. If they are investing in startup, they're not doing it because they have tons of ideas, and building that network early at a time, finding those right people, finding those right connections is really important, and that's what I'm missing too. I know.
Yeah. And I guess a lot of people just think like getting fundraising, like getting a check from a VC or an investor. That's it. No, they do bring a lot of more than just money, right? They bring their insights, they bring their experience, they bring their network, right? Even though you don't get funding, if you are able to build relationship with some people who have their network, you can get access to their network and lead to greater success, right? So it's never late to do the fundraising. You should just start building the like warming up with people, the introduction, and talk a lot. And the reason why I feel like Spark is able to raise so far because of openness of Sunny, the co-founder and CEO.
Yeah.
So he has a very different approach, and I somehow like always say don't waste your time with wrong people. But his like philosophy is always talk to people, always open for the conversation, and you never know where it leads. And the classic case is me being his co-founder. If he didn't agree to meet me, right, or like there was no way I could have like become his co-founder and CEO. So that is the thing, like which I guess everyone should follow. Like, don't be shy, just go and talk about it, and never ever think that, oh, they're gonna steal your idea. They hear shit ton of ideas on a daily basis. Uh, so they are not the like one who can become an operator or builders. They're the one who wanna like put money and just wait for you to just build it, right?
Right.
So yeah.
Excellent. Um, and then the rest of the topic, I think we're kind of moved together. We talked about it. I don't have any particular points that kind of stands out after this. Do you have any topic you want to talk
So
about? Maybe one last thing?
yeah. The seventh topic of mine is team conflict, which I have seen in Omotrip and also a little bit in Spark as well. So when I joined Omotrip, so there were three co-founders and they have different ideas and different opinions, and they wanted to build different things, right? But they are still working together. And then they split up, and then one of the founders they gave up, like I don't want to do it, right? So the team conflict somehow lead to shutting down the companies and the startups.
Right.
So that is my seventh number. And then the eighth is burnout and lack of passion. I guess that is also somehow intertwined with my previous experiences, because the conflict happens when you are burnt out and you lack the vision, and also you lack the passion to build it, right? Then you don't want to do it anymore. So then you leave it.
Yeah. Team works
And
really well when you're making just enough money. If you make not money and if you make too much money, that's when you start seeing the dynamics that works against you. That's true.
yeah. And then the ninth one is regulation and legal. And I guess the that is the one of the biggest aspect of beehives issue was like we didn't get into the regulations, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't thought about regulations.
Yeah. We're so focused on developing.
Yeah.
That was the end of everything. Yeah.
And the last one is the pandemic.
Oh.
If so, you cannot be prepared of that, right? A lot of startups had been shut down. So one of the classic case I've like recently I told you, like Etigo, the founder and the president or the CEO,
Yeah.
it was doing really well, and just pandemic came and it just like it just crashed, right?
Yeah.
So there have been a lot of startups which were like got crushed in pandemic.
Yeah.
So yeah, these were the like 10 things.
Yeah. And I think kind of closing that idea of regulatory side and then kind of getting your company doing things right ahead, rather than just thinking that I'll build it first. Once it works, then I'll go after regulatory stuff. And then I think if you build your company right, have employees rather than paying them, cash or whatever, have them on payroll, do all this stuff. I think at least in North America, at least in Canada for sure, if you had people on payroll, the government was paying you to keep them on payroll. So if you didn't have them on payroll, then everybody was screwed. So doing things at a time, having people on payrolls, doing accounting properly, all of that will have lots of benefits down the road, and a lot of people kind of overlook that. It's really important.
Yep.
I think that covers most of it. That's our experience, our lived experience, and some of that experience Aman is bringing from his whole life. I think he started building apps since he was a kid.
Yeah.
So, and I'm fortunate to have him in my network, and then we have never abandoned the Beehive ever. We still have those
Yeah.
projects.
Yeah.
When the time comes, right, we'll
It's
kind
just like your crush. It's just like your crush.
of never let that go. And
Yeah.
I think because it's a super app, I think you can integrate that. My goal, the things that I'm doing with now Carcass and whatnot, is once we have users and they are consistently coming and using your services, you can then redirect them easily to and introduce them another service. Which, if it's useful, people adopt them pretty quickly, and that's why I'm not in the business of building startup. I'm in the business of building this customer network. Because this is a discussion I was having with other people too. Like now, there are going to be agents, there are going to be AI things going to change everything, and developing is not going to be that challenging. It's the part where you build the relationship is going to be challenging. So we're right now in the cusp of something huge. Changes are coming. Everybody can now build their own chatbot, build their own AI agents, and things like that. So what is the niche at those environment is your ability to build networks, your ability to attract customers and retain them and make them happy, and you'll win with that no matter what changes comes. That's why what I'm doing right now, at the back of my head, I'm not really, let's not say passionate. I'm not really passionate about what exactly the app does, but I'm passionate about building that relationship and helping customers and bringing them to making them use your service. That's what keeps me going.
No, awesome, awesome. That's really great strategy, I guess. And yeah, nowadays I guess building product is just a commodity, right? Nowadays you need to build the distribution, the distribution of customers, right? You need to have an audience, and if you have the audience, then building and launching a product, making it successful, it's not difficult. The classic example is these influencers starting FMCG brands like Prime, like the drink, right? They didn't have any experience in like launching these kinds of things, building these kinds of things, but because they had the massive distribution and then just like it went crazy.
Yeah.
So I guess nowadays the key to crack startup is just like build your distribution first before building the product.
Yes, build your audience. Yeah. Excellent. Just before we head out, just a few quick updates on Cargoose. We are dealing with a very sluggish economic environment. Our first target market was furniture stores. We have gone multiple times, talked to them. We have developed a strategy of how to sign up customers, and we're sticking with it. We have gone to talk to them several times, but what we have come to learn that because of the sluggish economics, the volume of shipping is not there as they used to experience. So they're able to kind of manage the extra. They can even do same day delivery if they need to because there's not enough volume of stuff moving around. They have their in-house shipment. It's when things will start changing in spring when people can go out more and start buying stuff, and hopefully the economy take a turn towards the better. And so now we're focusing on a few other market. One is big box furniture stores like IKEA and Ashley's and all these. They are luxury big box stores, and they are relatively cheaper big box stores. So we're developing strategies to attack them, and then we're also moving into a new sector, construction sector, where because I know the construction sector because my house always needs construction. So just a month ago we redid the entire basement with new kitchen and everything. And I've noticed that a lot of workers, they come in the morning, they start doing something, and they always run out of something. An electrician comes in, he doesn't have the right screws and right outlets, and he has to go out and get it. And usually they say, "Oh, we'll come tomorrow," because they're running out of stuff all the time. And that kind of takes away half a day of productivity out of the site. If they could finish it same day, they can take another job the other day, don't have to drag the same thing again and again. So I think delivering construction materials through an app where they need it is actually going to be a pretty good idea. And we are now kind of working towards that particular market. And see how that goes. So we're not building product for product's sake, but we're actually addressing actual challenge problem, identifying it, and trying to not even thinking about an app right now. We'll make the WhatsApp group work first. We'll learn the challenges. First challenge will be a lot of these contractors are not buying their stuff from like Home Hardware or Rona in Canada. Or Canadian Tire. They're buying it from local suppliers who are giving them contractor discounts. They have their
Mhm.
accounts with them. They don't really pay them by credit cards. They
Mhm.
do month-end payments. So we need to integrate that into our system. That's going to be challenging, but that's how you win the market. That's how you solve the problem. Not by building first and then talking to them. Here, use my Signy app. But first, getting and figuring out how it works, and then building on top
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Alok.
Okay, that's everything. Thank you very much for Aman. We actually talked about a lot of stuff before we went live, and it's always good to talk to you.
Uh,
Okay,
yeah.
take care. Bye.